This is the Idiot Entrepreneur Podcast with
John
and Kelley, where no one is smarter than you. We're all just a bunch of idiots figuring out life and business one day at a time.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode.
What's up, idiots?
How's everybody doing today?
It's a funny, very silent crowd here.
Yeah, I don't hear anybody saying anything.
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's beginning of May, and things are going good.
Okay.
Every day, day in, day out. How are you today?
That was very formal. I'm doing well. You know, we started 75 hard round 2 today.
Oh, damn, yeah, today's the first
So
day.
it's a big day. Feel good about it.
Yeah, for those who aren't familiar with 75 Hard, it's a workout program that involves...
It's not just workout.
It's
a discipline, really.
Yeah, it's a discipline workout. That's what I said.
Discipline program.
Yeah, it's working out 2 workouts every day, both 45 minutes. One workout is outdoors. You got to take a progress pic every single day, drink 1 gallon of water, 10 minutes of reading, no alcohol, and following a diet of your choice.
With no cheat meals.
With no cheat meals. So that's a lot of stuff. We did the first 75 days and first 75 hard round 1 and got great results so far.
Yeah, we took a little 10-day hiatus for John's birthday and just a little bit of, binging and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Binge eating, but yeah, we're back on it, and
Today's day 1.
Yeah, it feels good to be back on it. Honestly,
It does.
I like doing it.
Yeah, it feels great. It keeps you motivated and keeps you on a schedule every single day.
Yeah, especially in quarantine life, it's very helpful. It keeps us really disciplined.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, so we're starting day 1 of 75, scheduled to end in, was it June?
July 18th.
Yeah, July 18th. So let it start.
Let it start.
All right. All right. So today we're going to be talking about 3 habits to develop a bulletproof mindset. This is really important because everything starts in your mind, and if your mind's not on right, nothing else good will follow.
Yeah, you might wonder why we talk so much about mindset in an entrepreneurship podcast, but honestly, 90% of it, I say 90%, some people may disagree, but give or take 10% is mental in business for sure. In life in general, honestly, it's not just business. Just in business and life, it's mental. Most of it's mental. So if you don't have your mental side, controlled or on lock, then you're going to have a hard life.
Absolutely. The way we define a bulletproof mindset is basically it's a mindset that doesn't fail or buckle when things get hard, and they always will, all the time. It's only a mindset that's built for success. So that's something that you should keep, in your mind, literally, and that you should always be constantly aware of is how's your mindset? What's it like? Where's your mind at?
And again, this is something that crosses over between business and life. If you're someone who maybe doesn't have a business, maybe you're an employee somewhere. This is just as applicable to you. You can have a bulletproof mindset as an employee, also just as a person in your day-to-day life, having this kind of mindset. Because, there's setbacks, of course, in business, but there's just as many setbacks in your own personal life, right?
Yeah, I mean, that
hard
happens
times.
All the time. It could be hard times for a week. It could be hard times for a day. It could be hard times for 3 years. But the one thing that gets you through it, the people that succeed through the worst of the times, is the people with the toughest mindset, a bulletproof mindset.
That's right. So we have three main points to achieving a bulletproof mindset. We're going to give you a little bit of a rundown of each one, and then some examples of what you can do to build this mindset for yourself. And this is an ongoing process, right, John? I mean, we've come a really long way in developing this for ourselves, but it's a continued practice. We're not perfect at it, and it's something that we have to work on every single day.
Yeah, the biggest thing to remember is that it takes time. It's not something I think that you develop overnight, but something that you refine over time, over years. It just takes time, and it takes active effort and work to develop.
I think most of these things are like that. Mindset in particular is something that takes active work every day of your life for the rest of your life. You're never going to be perfect at it. It's always, your mind is always, you're always going to fight yourself because your mind wants to do what's easy, wants to revert back to the negative, wants to, it's the human, the human brain is, it likes to look for the easy way out, and it also likes to be really negative. So you're always going to be fighting yourself on this, but it's worth it.
Yes. I mean, so, that leads into what Kelley was saying. That leads into our first point of keeping promises to yourself. So you have to remember this is point number one out of 3. Point number 1 is keeping promises to yourself. And that involves primarily not lying to yourself. You got to be really honest and truthful, not just with yourself, but obviously other people. But you gotta be honest with yourself. That involves doing what you're going to say you're going to do, and do it. So you have to commit to yourself and always follow through with any promise.
I think even if you're the only one who knows about it, right? This doesn't have to be, if you tell your friend you're going to be at this particular location at this particular time, we're not really talking about that. We're talking about more those things that only you know about. Maybe you tell yourself, okay, I need to lose 5 pounds in the next month. And you don't tell anybody. You're the only one who knows about it. But then you go ahead and eat Cheetos every day for the next month. Well, you let yourself down, right? Nobody else knew about it. So, technically, no harm, no foul, but that's not true because you know about it. And not keeping promises to yourself is an absolute confidence killer, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it not only kills your confidence, it also says that you have a hard time believing in yourself.
Well, yeah, it kills your confidence because you're never going to believe you can do those harder things if you can't even keep promises to yourself that are simple, like follow a diet, get up at a certain time, get this done, do this task. If you can't even keep those promises to yourself, how the heck are you going to do something really difficult?
Yeah, I mean, the odds are you're probably not gonna.
Because you won't believe that you can.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's exactly right. So, I mean, you got to believe that you can keep a promise to yourself and actually keep the promise to yourself. Many times you'll say, I'm gonna make sure to make a simple example. It would be making your bed every morning. That most people will say, I'm gonna make that.
Who does that? Do you know anyone who does that?
No.
Anybody who doesn't?
I don't know who that would be.
Anyway,
good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So making the bed yourself every morning. A lot of people say, I'm gonna do that every morning, but they never do it. Because they don't keep the promise. They tell themselves that I believe I'm going to do it, and I'm definitely going to do it, but they never do it. That's a stupid, simple example, but very common.
And really, the promises you make to yourself, you should hold even more important than the promises that you make to others, honestly.
Yeah, because, it all starts with you. Because if you can't keep a promise to yourself in true honesty, you're not going to be forthright with other people.
So do you have any examples? How can people do this?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think one way people can do this is by writing down a few things that you have to do and literally do them. So you can literally write in your notebook, carry down a little notebook or a tablet that you have with a pen and paper and just write down a few things every single day that you're going to do, and hold yourself accountable by writing next to that area. Did you complete it? Put a check mark. If you didn't, you put an X and you failed for the day.
Yeah, this is something actually John and I have both done. And we found it to be really helpful. I think it keeps you honest with yourself. It keeps you in tune with what you are and are not doing. But also it can't just be something that you would do anyways, right? You can't write down brush your teeth, right? Unless you don't brush your teeth, maybe that's something. But something you're going to do no matter what, don't write that down. It needs to be something that, you're
pushes your limit a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to
more.
have to push yourself to do it. It's not something that you would do automatically. And then maybe, eventually it will become automatic. For example, if you don't work out and you start putting working out down, that's totally cool. Eventually, hopefully that will become a habit and you can stop writing that down and write something else down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, and it should be definitely something that pushes the envelope further and pushes your boundaries a little bit further into helping you advance into something. It shouldn't be something that's very simple. Like, I don't know, washing the dishes, it shouldn't be something like that. You know, working out is a great example.
Yeah, reading. That's another
Reading.
good one. Reading
Yeah.
for, even 10 minutes a day of, a business book or a self-development book, something like that. That adds up. You'll finish a book in a couple weeks if you're doing that every single day. So
Yeah.
just know that those little wins, small things like making the bed, going to the gym, reading a book, might not seem like a lot, but they add up to a ton. And you'll start to realize that if you freaking say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And that just builds so much confidence to allow you to do bigger and bigger things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the very small day-to-day things that you complete that add up to huge, huge results. Would you say anything else on number 1, keeping promises to yourself?
No, but I think we covered it. I think, but this is like the foundation. You got to start here. If you, like we said before, if you can't keep promises to yourself, you're not going to keep them to other people, and you're not going to have the confidence to believe in yourself to get the really difficult things done.
I agree. So that takes us to our second point, which is keep pushing when not motivated. Again, you got to keep pushing when you're not motivated. This is the second point in terms of developing a bulletproof mindset. Point number 1 was keep promises to yourself. Point number 2 is keep pushing when you're not motivated. And this is actually a big deal. There's a big difference between being lazy and not being motivated. So for example, if someone's highly motivated, they may have a day, every day they constantly push their limits and work hard. And there may be a day where they're not motivated. They're not feeling like doing a certain task, and that's completely normal. I mean, everybody experiences that. Even if you function at a super high level, there's going to be days where you just don't feel like doing shit, and that's the truth. I mean, there's days where I feel like that. I know there's a lot of days where Kelley feels like that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
But you got to understand the difference between being lazy and not being motivated. People who are lazy just generally don't do shit every day, day in, day out. And, so that's something to remember. So that's the point I want to make there, is to understand the difference between being lazy and not motivated. There's a difference.
And honestly, motivation doesn't mean shit. And why doesn't it mean shit? It's because, like John said, you're never going to feel motivated all the time, especially when you have a business. When it's new and it's exciting, you probably feel motivated all the time. I know in the very beginning of us starting Spotless, we were always motivated. We're like, oh, this is exciting. Let's work on the business. Let's do this. And then what happens when you burn out? When things are really rough, when you're tired, when you're sick of it, you don't want to do it at all. You hate it. You want to burn it down. Yeah. But if you just did stuff when you were motivated, you wouldn't get anything done, because frankly, most of us aren't motivated
24/7
half the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly true. Most people are not, by nature, motivated 24/7, 365. That's just the truth. I mean, that's just not the case.
Yeah, so you can't base your life on motivation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people, you'll hear say, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't feel like it. But it's not about feeling, right? Yeah. It's about obligation. It's about, I'm doing this because I have no other choice. It's not because I don't feel like it. Because, again, if you just operate on feelings, you're not going to do very much. You're going to have a pretty uneventful life at the end of the day, because most of the time you're not going to feel like doing something. You're not going to be motivated to do it. And if you don't do it, well, then what did you accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually one of the most important points for success in business and life, is you got to keep going when you don't feel like it. That's 100% true, and I believe that. And this actually ties in what Kelley was just saying right now, and what we were just saying is it ties in really well with waking up with a purpose every single day. That's one thing actually you should ask yourself every day when you get up in the morning is, you should ask yourself, I got up today, I'm healthy, I'm alive, but what is my existence here for? What is my purpose? For most people, a lot of people, they don't really know. I mean, they get up, go through the motions, and go to bed and do it all over again. You should have a clear idea of what your purpose is you're trying to build a business, for example, or
I think
you're
rather than purpose, maybe like goal, because
Yeah.
you don't have to have some grand purpose. I mean,
No.
it's not as if we think we were divinely put on this earth to do things, but more what's your kind of reason for getting up, right? I mean, other than just having to get up.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. So Kelly's saying goal, I'm saying purpose. What's your reason for being alive today? You know what I mean? So obviously, like you set goals and you work towards them. Most people aren't there. So you have to understand. What is your goal for the day? How am I going to get up and do it? And why should I do it? Is there a purpose behind it? Wake up with a purpose. Wake up with a reason to do, a purpose to do something.
When I think if you don't know why John's saying this, I think the reason is because that does help with motivation. Granted, you still might not be motivated sometimes, but kind of having that why behind what you're doing does definitely help with motivation. People who don't have a why, I mean, it's very, very hard. Losing weight is a great example. Yeah. Initially, you might think, I want to lose, 10 pounds so I'll look really good in a bathing suit. But when you see a box of chocolate on the counter, or you're tired at night and you just want to order a pizza, looking good in a bathing suit is not enough motivation to get you to not eat that pizza. I guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're just absolutely obsessed with looking good in a bathing suit. Most people aren't. Most people will cave. So you have to have that why behind what you're doing to help you stay motivated.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So a lot of it's about the why. And once you get into that habit, it becomes automatic. So once you become, you build that habit of understanding your why and waking up with a real purpose, it starts to become automatic. And this ties in with, not getting lazy, staying active both mentally and physically. There's a lot of parallels between success and fitness, or business and fitness, because both of them have one thing in common, is not giving up when you're tired or not motivated.
Being disciplined.
Disciplined. Yeah, exactly. Just having the discipline to not slack off or give up. You got to have that discipline.
Do we have an example of how they can basically, whatever this point is, keep motivated? I forgot. What's our point?
Our point is don't
keep pushing when not motivated.
Keep pushing when not motivated.
Yes.
Yeah. So an example of that?
Yeah. What's an example of how people can keep pushing when they're not motivated?
There's a million. I think one good example is, for example, let's say you built a business and you're making a really comfortable income, and every day goes by, you're like, fuck it. I don't really have to work today. I don't have to work today. Technically, you don't have to do anything. You're the boss of your own company. You could just sit at home and collect money, in theory, right? So that shows that your motivation is dropping off, and that's where things go bad, right? And I think anybody functioning at a high level or a very low level, that motivation drops off because you get comfortable. I think getting comfortable is a really good example of not pushing when you're not motivated, right? So you got to get out of being comfortable. That's a really good example, is getting out of that comfort zone and pushing when you're comfortable into a zone of not being comfortable, because that'll get you to the next level.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I mean, I would say, just to sum it up, how you can keep pushing when you're not motivated is, number one, have a why. Have a purpose for what you're doing, and it could change. It doesn't have to be the same thing all the time, but have a why, and then kind of like, to speak to what John said, I would say change it up. Don't just go through the motions and do the same routine every day. Constantly evaluate where you're at and what you need to do to get to the next level. And when you're constantly evaluating yourself, you'll find ways to change things up to switch up your routine, to add new things in, and that's going to keep it fresh. And at the end of the day, there's going to be times when you're not motivated, but you have to have the discipline to push through when you're not motivated, because it doesn't matter. It's not about motivation. It's about effort. It's about work. And that's what's going to get you where you want to go.
Exactly. I mean, you just got to keep pushing, especially when you get comfortable. And a lot of people working from 9 to 5s, I mean, to me, that's the easy way out. Is it's easy. It's because you work 2 weeks, you collect a check, and you're comfortable. Let's say you're making 100.
Sorry.
What's that?
No, you know what? I was just going to stop you because I agree with you, but I also think not everybody's really the kind of person that's going to run a business, and not everybody should.
All right.
But you don't have to be comfortable in your 9 to 5. Most people are, right?
Yeah, most people are.
But you could push yourself
to
get that promotion, to get a raise, to get to the next level in your job by providing more value.
Yeah, I agree. No, that was the point I was going to get at.
Okay,
and
sorry.
She just took it over.
I was too hasty there. Sorry.
Yeah, it should be. So basically, if you're working a 9 to 5 job, just going through the motions, it says that you're too comfortable and you're not going above and beyond, and that's not going to get you very far. So obviously, you got to keep pushing, even if you started off really highly motivated and your motivation drops off. You gotta still keep going. So do you have anything else to say on keep pushing when not motivated?
Nope.
All right. So point number 1 was keep promises to yourself. Number 2 was keep pushing when not motivated. This is probably the most important one, by the way. And actually, well, maybe 3 is the most important, is no options mindset. Our third point is having a no options mindset. And so what does that mean, Kelley? What would you say a no options mindset is?
Are you putting me on the spot?
I am.
Okay.
I know what it is.
You think I don't know what it is? Okay. Fool. So yeah, no options mindset. This ties in directly with what we were speaking about in the previous point. But no options is just basically saying, a discipline mindset, meaning that you don't say, I'm not going to do this because I'm not motivated, or I don't feel like it. Those words aren't in your vocabulary. It's I have to do X, Y, and Z, and emphasis on the word have to do, right? You have no choice. So, a good example of no options is just putting yourself on the spot, giving yourself schedules, punishments, rewards, etc. for different things. So for example, 75 hard, like we described at the beginning of the podcast, is something that we're doing, and you have to do this challenge 75 days straight, perfect. You can't mess up. You can't even forget to do one of the things, and if you do, you have to start over. Yeah. That's your punishment. And so that's a great kind of, that's 0 options. We know we cannot screw up. If we do, we have to start over. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, basically giving yourself literally what it sounds like is no other option. And what that does, if you give yourself no other option, essentially what happens is that you don't have another backup plan or a way out of your goal or whatever you're trying to do. So not allowing yourself to have an escape is the way to go.
Yeah, and that takes a lot of
that takes a lot of
discipline, because
a lot of work too.
I mean, yeah, some things, like say for example, you have a 9 to 5 job and you say I have a business and I'm going to go into my business full time, and you quit your 9 to 5 job. Well, you truly eliminated your options, right? I mean, that's like, really going in full force. But a lot of things aren't that cut and dry. Like, for example, a diet. I mean, you can tell yourself you have no options, but at the end of the day, you do, right? Because who's going to punish you? Well, you. And if you choose not to punish yourself if you mess up, then I guess there was really no consequence.
Well, exactly, yeah.
But sorry.
I was saying because you're giving yourself an option.
Right. But then that ties back in with our first point, which was keeping promises to yourself. And how crappy are you going to feel about yourself if you told yourself, I have to be on this diet, and then if I don't, if I mess up, I have to start over. And then you messed up and you said, forget about it, I quit. Right? You didn't keep the promise to yourself. You just killed your confidence, and you didn't have any discipline, which also hurts your confidence. Then you'll just be, saying, oh, I'll never do this because I never follow through with what I say I'm going to do.
Exactly. I mean, this is basically reminding yourself personally why you're doing what you're doing every single day, which it leads back to one thing, and it's purpose, right? It's why you're doing what you're doing right now every single day. And this ties in with you got to make sure that your only option is just one option. It's success, because the only other option other than success is failure. There's no in between. So it's a do or die mentality.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect time for a zero options mindset because, a lot of people are struggling, whether it's just personally, whether it's financially, whether it's with your business or all of the above. And so, by telling yourself, I have no other option than to succeed, that's the mindset that you've got to have to be able to come out of this on the other side in a positive
outcome.
Outcome.
Yeah, with all the virus stuff going on and everything being shut down and people just sitting down and just wasting time. This is a perfect opportunity to practice a no options mindset because you have the time and the freedom to do so. So that's something that everybody should keep in mind. And this goes into not being a wimp. Commit to a bulletproof mindset.
A wimp.
And don't be a wimp.
I feel like that's something my dad would call me if I cried or something.
Because if you do, you're a wimp.
Yeah.
So don't be a wimp. Just commit to a bulletproof mindset every single day. All of that ties into is teaching yourself discipline, strong discipline.
Eliminate the emotions, right? Yeah. It's fine to have emotions, obviously, but in terms of your goals, emotions can't be a part of it. If you're the kind of person who's not going to do something because you don't, quote, feel like it, if you use the words feel, I think you would be really surprised if you started paying attention to how often you say things like, I don't feel like it, or, I'm this, I'm that, feeling emotion words, basically. Most of what humans talk about involve emotion. Yeah. And that's fine for, your personal life, but it's not going to help you when it comes to business, that's for sure, or achieving goals. You have to be logic focused, not emotion focused.
Yeah, that's a good point. Logic is greater than emotion. Especially when it comes to business and success in life. You got to use logic. A good example right now too is what's going on in the world with the coronavirus is a lot of business owners right now, the business is could be on the brink of failure. And I think that's a real case for a lot of people. Thousands of businesses, their businesses may go out of business. So what could it really help you to get through that? It's discipline. It's a no options mindset. It's keep pushing yourself when you don't feel like it. It's the keeping promises to yourself. Basically you saying, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I don't fail or die. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this mindset, a bulletproof mindset, these 3 points combined are going to help you massively, especially right now. You can start this today. It's not like you have to do anything crazy, just start taking baby steps, start keeping those little promises to yourself, start eliminating those feeling words from, the things that you should do, the things that you have to do. And just, you'll find yourself very quickly doing more than you ever thought you could or would. And that's going to reinforce that confidence, and you're going to keep going, keep doing more, keep doing bigger things, better things, right?
Yeah, if you start doing these things, such as keeping promises to yourself, and very importantly, keep pushing when you don't feel like doing shit, and then practicing a zero options or no options mindset, you're gonna see results, guaranteed. And actually, I would be willing to say you see results pretty quickly.
Yeah, if you want to collapse the time it's going to take you to reach your goals, this is how you're going to get there.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also a work in progress. It's a work in progress, meaning it's not something you're going to do just for one day or 1 week or 1 month and expect life-changing goals life-changing progress rather to happen. It's a lifelong practice that needs evolution. That's going to constantly evolve, and you're going to constantly improve it.
Yeah, and you're going to screw up sometimes too. We've been really big on this for a while now, but it's still something, there might be a day when we're not as disciplined as we should be or as we'd like to be. And generally, I think that what you find is that you get better at catching yourself, right? In the beginning, everything's a mess. Once you start practicing this, when you screw up, you'll catch yourself quickly, or you'll catch yourself before you're about to screw it up, right?
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, like you start to, the warning signs start to, the siren starts to flash because you realize, oh shit, I'm slipping up. I'm going to correct myself real quick, and I think that's what, once you get into certain habits, you realize when you start to make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just practice.
Yeah, it's like everything else. Practice makes perfect. It sounds really cliche, but it's true.
Many of the cliches are actually true.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, you're right.
They're a cliche for a reason.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's a good point. So you got to practice until you can't get it wrong. That's the bottom line with most things in life.
Any questions?
I don't think anybody has any questions right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't hear any from the peanut gallery.
Silent.
All right. Fair enough. All right, guys. So that was today's episode. Work hard, do well, stay alive, develop a bulletproof mindset. If you guys found this episode to be helpful in any way, we ask you just to share the message. Share the message. Share the podcast. It does help us out to spread the word. We spend a lot of time and effort putting developing this podcast. So if you feel like you got any value, tell the world, tell your friends.
Yeah, and if you didn't, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Until next time, guys, Idiot Entrepreneur reminds you that no one is smarter than you.
No one.
And me. No, just kidding. But yeah, you got to remember, no one's smarter than you are. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you on the next show.
See ya.
Bye.